Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having a great day. Happy, what is it, Thursday to you? Sometimes you lose track of the days when you look at the charts all the time. So what I want to talk about here is just a quick update from earlier today. We talked about price of Bitcoin pulling back after it hits that local point of control range about 89.6 upwards about 91,000. While the price pulled back a little faster than usual, it's all because of this low volume. So keep in mind when volume is low and the price is going up, specifically into a descending trend, that's a cause for concern. So I highlighted that earlier today, so if you missed it, all good. This is kind of a recap of what's going on, but we have a short open with Bitcoin, Solana, and Bitcoin, ETH, and AVAX. Majority of them are all like 2/3 or 3/4 way to their profit targets. And also congrats to our committee here for our Premium Plus trades. We see Solana, AVAX, Solana, Cardano, and Matic/Pol. Essentially some nice profits here for some shorts too. So my day trading bot is picking up on a lot of good stuff there. Awesome stuff. So what we want to look at is the backend data, kind of work our way down, see what's going on, and just kind of reference liquidation levels. Because I mentioned earlier, 86 to 85,000 has a solid amount of liquidation in that range. We've pretty much swept down to that low 87, but we're going to see here soon if that level is going to get hit. There's a strong likelihood 87, 86,000 is going to be the next target. I think 86.5 is a close approximate to that area of consideration for the price action to either pivot and bounce or just at the very least wick down to wreck some more longs. So again, try not to be a late long at this point. I mean, shame on you if you're longing at 90 to 93,000. I mean, I'm sorry, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that the price action is, massively overextended. We're 9 days of continuation in, and that's kind of where we're at. Now, I know hindsight's 2020. A day or two ago, I said do not short Bitcoin because it's on fire. You got to respect the trend. That's all there is to it. Right now, the trend is down, so that's why we're respecting that and essentially trading into it. So let's take a look here. Liquidation delta is tapering off closer to about 10 billion. This is still overextended, but it's also beneficial to see that coming down, okay? We need to see that. Without that tapering off, we're just going to have this, monumental drop, which right now I think we're still in a very healthy continuation of the downside. This isn't a crazy circumstance by any stretch. Let's look at open interest here. We can see, again, a lot of folks heavy at 89,700. Which again is crazy to me to buy the top like that. You basically sell the top because again, it's a greed market right now, folks. You sell the greed, and when the price pulls back, you buy the fear. That's essentially the concept. Easier said than done, I recognize, but be careful FOMOing in right now. I mean, most altcoins are down 9 to 15%. That is insane, okay? Obviously, SUI is a different story. We'll talk about that later. But with Bitcoin, 87,000 and some change. Let's see where we're at with the daily time frame, work our way down, and just kind of recognize a few key factors here. So I'll go and remove this guy here. The daily time frame is printing a bearish engulfing candle. So we closed below 88,000 today. There's a distinct probability we'll see further downside. Again, that just kind of shows that the bears controlled the last 24 hours. Yeah, that's all it's telling us. We take a look here though. Bigger picture, we're still over 70 in the RSI technically. So again, depending on your overall position, this is technically a sign letting us know that you could still leave your position open because we're quote unquote bullish. Now, I don't really utilize the daily time frame with the RSI. I like to wait for the 4-hour time frame because that fits my my trading prowess, basically the time frames that I like to trade, Bitcoin or any coin for the most part. I like to hold for a week or less. That's generally my sweet spot there. So either way you look at it here, let's go ahead and discuss a few other factors here. In fact, we just got notified here. There we go. Avalanche 20% in 6 hours. Cool. Awesome. So it's nice to see that. Again, these are nice little profit targets that we're taking. They're not super outrageous. They're only 5x leverage trades. But the key takeaway here is that, with responsibility comes consistency, and you just got to wait for the right time. Try not to get too crazy with FOMO. So take a look here on the 4-hour time frame. We can recognize 87,000 is the price of running. Just to clarify, 86,400 or 86.5 is a round number, is at local support. In other words, we've seen 1, 2, 3, 4 4-hour candles that try to break through that level and haven't yet. Hourly time frame will be more, but generally construed as a support, right? We also are getting closer to 50 on the RSI, another support. So it is telling us 86.5, 87K is that support range. If we also double check here, stochastic RSI, MACD, they're all diverging, basically letting us know that further momentum on the downside makes sense. Take a look at the hourly. Let's clarify a couple of things here and just be on our way. If we take a look at TD sequential, we can see we're not massively overextended. We're only 4 hours into this continuation. We had that little fake pump with low volume, as I mentioned to my community multiple times. Follow the volume. If the volume is low and the price is going up and you're in a descending trend, that's almost a guaranteed reversal. That on top of the fact that we had 89,600 is that previous resistance. I mean, look at this here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I don't know, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 attempts to break that level either to the upside or the downside. You can see that's a point of contention, right? So when you identify that and you recognize it, you either trade against it or with it, right? Depending on obviously where it's at. So hindsight's 2020. I got in a little early, honestly. I think I got in like 88,100 for Bitcoin. While we're pretty good in profit right now, we could have got more profit had I chose to wait a little bit longer, but the price did look like it was going to run earlier today after I analyzed the charts. So again, sometimes you can't find the best entry. Actually, you can never find the best entry. That's actually the best way to describe it. So the truth is, find the trend, figure out a game plan, and just make sure if you miss an opportunity, wait for the next one. It's okay, no worries. Ichimoku Cloud hourly time frame. This is also one of those confirming factors that I love to see. And a lot of my community members know me for being really good at trend reversals and identifying those. This is one of those tools that's super good about it, right? If you look at this here, you zoom out, you can see we haven't been below the cloud since what? November 4th, okay? That's 10 days ago. That's basically the day before the election. Now, the realism of the situation is setting in. The price action is starting to pull back. We're now below this key level resistance, or more importantly, just like a series of moving averages. And with the lagging span being free and clear, conversion line on the baseline, essentially to the downside, good momentum, there's no reason to consider taking a long into that. I know, I hesitate to say that because some folks are like, what do you mean? You said 88,000 a couple days ago was a good potential support level. That's right. It was, but it's also an area in which we got to see how it handles first. You don't just jump in blindly to the price dropping into an area that you thought was a good call a couple days ago when it's totally a different story now. That's the new resistance, if that makes any sense, that 88K range. So again, it's easier said than done, I know at this point. It's not all doom and gloom though, keep this in mind. Until we lose 86,500, I think we are more likely than not to hit this level and recover. We could even be at the beginning of a head and shoulders pattern where the price recovers up to 89.5, right? Or you could even argue that we've already kind of done that. So it really depends on how you look at it. But again, these patterns that I just threw out there from the shooting from the hip here, those are just strictly that. They're not like, you don't take a trade based on one pattern if everything else on the charts is the opposite of what you're thinking or what you're seeing, right? Either way, head and shoulders would complement the current situation. So there's that. But no matter how you look at it, try not to get too stuck on candlestick patterns. But either way, at this point, we are looking good to the downside. I think 86.5 seems and appears to be an inevitability, especially if we look at the liquidation here. In fact, let's take a quick look at the last 7 days just to get perspective here. That was a slightly better time frame. And let's go ahead and see what that looks like. Because again, there's a tremendous amount of liquidation on the downside here. Heavy concentrations at 85 and about just under 84K. So I think 86.5 is maybe just the beginning of how much lower we're going to see it. But on the same accord, it just depends on how you look at it, really. The overall sense here is that, we got to give these support ranges a chance to hold until they don't. But if we look at the bigger picture here, there's a lot of free fall potential with the significant fair value gaps. In fact, I didn't cover this earlier today, I apologize, but we do have a CME gap as well that is quite sizable, okay? So it's right here on this chart. It is between 78K and 80.5K, all right? Now, again, CME gaps are not a guarantee to get hit. They're just a distinctly larger probability of that happening eventually. So would it make sense for us to retest that 78K range? It would, because that is effectively the previous resistance that we had before we established all-time highs and the price just went bonkers, right? So it's all well and good. It's all nice to see the price increasing. But at this point, let's just be logical about this. Do you really think we're going to see 100,000 tomorrow? I mean, I recognize there's probably some moon boys or whoever telling you that, and that's all good. 100,000 isn't that far away, but the realism of this here is that we need to consolidate in this range before we leg up again. We don't have enough gas in the tank. There's too much profit left. There's too much meat on the bone, so to speak, to warrant that. Last thing I didn't touch on is the moving averages on the 4-hour time frame here. We're now officially below it. We were trying to cross above it earlier with that low volume pump. Now that we have dropped, we can presume that that's going to be a new resistance range for us. I'm talking about the trend, not the moving average. Moving averages are not resistances or supports. They're simply just kind of letting you know that we're on the wrong side of tracks. And now we can't just be an idiot about trying to take long positions. We have to be smart, we have to be wise, and think about it. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at. Same thing goes with altcoins too. Be very, very careful buying the dip, quote unquote. We don't know how much lower Bitcoin can go. If Bitcoin stops at 86.5, then all good. You know, we get a little consolidation there. Maybe it's worth taking along. But there's really no reason to jump into a long position with anything for the moment. Bitcoin dominance is on its way back up too. Okay, so all unfortunate things depending on how you look at it. But I'm perfectly content and happy with it, just because we secured some nice profits and things are continuing to run. Unfortunately, there was an ICP long there for our day trading bot, but again, if you offset that with all the positive trades, it doesn't really matter too much. Again, you're gonna hit stop losses, folks. So you're gonna have to set realistic targets when you take a trade. It's just the way it goes. Anyways, I'm talking too much. Let's go ahead and post this playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. You go ahead and check that out. That is available for you here. Obviously, check it out in your own time. Link down below, of course, if you're curious. Make sure you, of course, jump into our trading competition. More importantly, progressive prize pool. 60K is up for grabs. Basically, over the course of the next 14 days. Top 20 contestants, if that's even the right word for it, essentially it will qualify. All right, folks. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thanks for your time. We'll see you in the morning. Take care.